Hello and welcome back to MLB The Show 19 and the Jason Parham Road to the Show. I'm TYRANT Saber. Last time out, Jason faced off against the Nationals in their home ballpark. Allowed 1 run on 6 hits and a walk in 7 innings, pitching for... Hello and welcome back to MLB The Show 19 and the Jason Parham Road to the Show. I'm TYRANT Saber. Last time out, Jason pitched for 7 innings in the Nationals home ballpark, allowing 1 run on 6 hits, which was that, what was his name? It was Thomas Irving. First home run of the rookie's young career, collected 7 strikeouts and got the win. So let's keep going. Got a presentation first thing out.
A pitcher is encouraged to keep looking for improvement.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do this, but I'll cut it out. Swing and a miss. Okay, well, apparently we can lose K per 9 on these outings. I didn't realize that was a possibility, but hey, we got our hits per 9 and walks per 9 up a couple steps, and that's always good, so let's keep going. Okay, bullpen day. What do we got? So, velocity and K per 9, always fun. Hits per 9, okay. Work on our break, I guess. 12-6. Home runs per 9 cap. Yeah, let's get that up. Let's work on our home runs per 9 because it actually does something in Road to the Show now when you're playing games. And once again, I'm pretty sure this is not Archie Bradley. Allow 2 home runs or less over your next appearance. I accept that challenge. Okay, and we get finally a chance to do stuff, and who should we have up except the Los Angeles Dodgers? So let's poke some fun at these guys. Get the rivalry going, get the bants on. Sean Newcomb, I think. In the recent series lost. Way to kick us when we're down, man. We'll use that as motivation during this series. All right. So, that should bring us back up against the Los Angeles Dodgers in Chase Field. Now, Jason has faced off against the Dodgers kind of a lot. 12 appearances, but only 5 starts. He has a 2-2 record against them, a 4.29 ERA, and a 2.77 WOBA. So, not the best ERA numbers against these guys, but hopefully we can get out here and turn that around when we go out here and get it.
MLB The Show has baseball from the Valley of the Sun, Chase Field in Phoenix. Tonight, a matchup of teams at opposite ends of the division between the LA Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's going to be a premier pitching matchup. 2 of the league's hardest throwers go head-to-head next. Jason Parham, a right-hander from the Keystone State, gets the ball as the starter in this one. What do we need to know here, Danny?
Hey, this guy pitched well this last one, getting through 7 innings in his last start. We'll see if he can turn in another quality start and pick up the win in this one also.
Next up for Los Angeles, Damon Ulysses. He enters play at number 6 in National League batting average.
This season really shouldn't come as a surprise to many. We all know what kind of skill this guy produces when he has a bat in his hands.
All right, now I'm going to try to do something a little tiny bit different today because I know I had a question asked about it, and I realized that with the coming of the new year, there may come a lot of new fans who don't necessarily understand what all is going on in my head when I'm doing this. So I'll do my best to explain what's going on and try to give you guys an insight into what I'm doing, okay? So, when we're talking about pitching,
Come on, guy, get your pitch up there.
Ready with
What
the
we're
first
really
pitch,
talking
here it
about is the
comes.
battle of
Underway in the second
the
of
pitcher
four
versus
this
the
weekend as the
hitter,
game's first pitch is taken
and
for
to some
ball
extent
one.
the catcher.
Well, guys, you take a look at this Diamondback squad
You know,
as they begin play here
the
tonight. They've been
catcher
playing
in a
better
lot of
than
these
500
cases
baseball
calls the
of late,
pitch
5-3
that
in their
they
last
want
8
the
games.
pitcher to throw next, and it's on the pitcher to execute that pitch to the best of their abilities. And then it's up to the batter to see how that pitch is behaving at the plate, in transit to the plate, and decide whether or not to swing on it, when to swing on it, and how much force or how much to shorten up on it to put it into play.
Is looked at for the
That
first strike.
was a
And
little
our
bit kind of
game-time
an ugly
temperature
pitch
this
there,
evening, a nice
but
74
in short,
degrees.
the thing that the show, MLB The Show, does when it determining how its pitches behave, it uses 3 sets of variables. It uses your pitch velocity, your pitch control, and your pitch
You can
break.
do it. No one better. Let's go.
And so those 3 variables determine how good, quote unquote, your pitch is for that particular pitcher.
Get your cuts.
So, in this case, I'm playing as Jason Parham, who has a 5-pitch repertoire. He has 2 fastballs, a 2-seam fastball, and a cutter. He has a curveball that has a motion that goes straight up and down, called a 12-to-6 curveball. He has a circle change, which is a changeup, which is a circle change, so-called because of the grip you use to hold it. You form a circle with your you form a circle with your finger and forefinger and thumb, and use that to kind of hold the ball against while your other fingers clutch the ball and you provide the force to throw it.
Taking a look at this lineup, they're going to have to work the count. That's the key to success right here. They have to find a way to drive this guy's pitch count up and get into that bullpen as quick as possible.
So the bases are empty with 1 man gone. And that brings up the outfielder, Alex Verdugo.
And then the other pitch that he has is a slider, which is another form of breaking ball, kind of like a curveball, but instead of going up and instead of going down with its break, it travels more glove side, which for Jason, being right-handed, means it'll slide from right to left in on a left-handed batter and away from a left-handed batter away from a right-handed batter. Excuse me.
First pitch of the at-bat. Hot shot on the ground is short.
That's over to Jack Reinheimer at short. It'll be a quick second to out, and Jason's got 2 away in this one.
Stepping into the box, Kyle Schwarber. And as you can see, he has been slumping offensively.
And each of these pitches has their own rating for control, break, and velocity, which control how they behave in the field. So, for instance, Jason throws a 2-seam fastball as his primary pitch, and he has very good velocity on it.
Hey, get a good one up there, huh?
Outfield
So when
shaded
he throws
toward
it
right
up
center,
here,
here's the first pitch.
it's going
And
at
it's the
96
outside
miles an
corner,
hour.
strike one.
I think he even
And
touches
there are
97
our
at times,
umpires for
but
this one.
primarily he
Working balls
throws
and
it at
strikes will be
96
Mr.
miles an
Darryl
hour.
Parker.
Is where he
Darryl
peaks.
Parker behind the dish, and you really
And
know what you're gonna
that's
get from
good.
this guy.
That's very
Yeah,
good for a
sometimes-
2-seam
and I hate to be
fastball. It's
mean and say he
one of
flips
the
a corner
faster
back there
pitches in the
because
game
that's
for
not the
that
case.
type of
But as an
fastball.
offensive player,
But
you
if he
have
were to
to find
compare
a
that to
consistent
a
zone. You just
12-6
can't-
curveball,
Come on, let it fly right here.
Now here's the pitch.
what you would find is that
And a pitch in
the
third.
speed on
Lays
that is
off.
very
It's
much
1-1.
different. It's 78
Parham
miles
is
an hour,
what
you may
may
have seen.
call a stingy starting pitcher. He rarely gets hit around, and on top of that, he usually excels at limiting free passes. A great combination to have.
Matty V, I think one of the keys to being a
Schwarber
good
smacks
starting
that
pitcher,
over
one,
into the right field
limiting the
corner.
number of pitches
Foul.
that you throw into a game, and 2,
In any case, each of those variables plays an important role in determining how good or how well your pitch is executed. So velocity obviously controls how fast your pitch goes, or in the case of changeups, how slow, because the whole thing about a changeup is that it looks like a fastball when it's being thrown. The arm action is the same and the grip is similar. But because you take something off when you throw it, it comes to the plate slower, and the higher your velocity rating for a circle change, the lower the actual pitch will travel from your pitcher's
Again, a
hand.
1-2. And there's a
Oof.
base hit on the line.
Okay,
Great job on
Schwarber gets
1-2
himself a
pitch to
schmack
keep
into
the
left
inning alive.
field against the shift, and that'll be a
Hey,
man
there's
on
nice
with 2
stop
away
by
here.
the 3-hole hitter. I know there's 2 outs, but they always say with your man coming up, the number 4-hole monster, as soon as he steps in the batter's box, there's a runner in scoring position.
Okay, well, that was about as well positioned. I mean,
And
not
next will
ideal,
be the
perhaps,
Dodgers
but
cleanup
it's
hitter,
about as good as you could
Matt
expect it in that
Power
situation.
a big part of this game as he enters this contest, number 5 in the National League home run race.
In any
And he
case,
lays off there, 1-0.
pitch velocity
Is off at first
is
with 2
important
away.
because of one of the big axioms in baseball pitching, which is that you should be working off of your fastball, which means the fastball should be the pitch that you throw the most. Generally, they are your most accurate pitches. They travel the fastest.
1-0 count. Here it is.
They're just
Strike
generally
taken up in the zone.
kind of the conventional pitch you throw. And the advantage of working off the
Targets, but this
fastball
is low, 2-1.
is that the batter has to react to each pitch as though it were a fastball, meaning they have to decide in the span of time it takes for the fastball to get to the plate whether or not to swing on it. And they have to make that decision because even if you are throwing, say, a 12-6 curveball, they have to make the decision based on whether or not you're throwing the fastball, because if they wait long enough to see if it's a curveball, they're going to be late on the swing when they get the fastball, if they get the fastball. So
Next for the Dodgers,
here comes Big Boys Fuller.
It'll be 5-6
Good to see him again.
due up to kick off the second inning.
Hey, come on, guys. Hey, let it fly up there, huh?
So anyway, you want to work off your fastball. Those want to be the pitches that
Come on, baby, square it up.
they're
Pitch
easiest
on the
to
way.
throw. They're generally the ones you have the
And that's
most
in there
control
for
over.
strike one.
They're
Well,
your
fans of
fastest
good
pitches.
pitching are in for
And
a
if you
treat
throw
today.
a
What can we
fastball
expect from
effectively in
today's
your start,
matchup, guys?
then that
I know
means
everyone
that
loves the long ball, Matty, but this is why I pay the price
you
of the
wind up
ticket
having
right here.
very
Two
good,
of the game's best, 2 of the hardest throwers
the
compete.
batters have to
Dan, you have to
react based on whether or not you're throwing. They have to react on the basis of knowing what your fastball is capable
and
of.
runs are going to be really difficult to come by. They both look like they're on point so far.
Compared to that are your breaking balls. For Jason, he has a 12-6 curveball and a slider.
Those 0-2
And
curveballs
these
are really tough
work
for guys to
more
lay
based off of
There's a reason
your
it's such a common pitch
break
in that count,
command,
but he did
which
well
is to
stay
say,
on it there.
because of the way that baseballs with their raised stitching interact with the atmosphere when they're thrown, they create various aerodynamic effects on them based on how they are spinning through the air after the delivery. So say the slider, the Showtime slider we're throwing. Jason imparts a little bit of spin on it that makes it dip away from the right-handed hitter. It kind of spins in the air and causes aerodynamic effects that cause it to move to the left, from right to left on the field.
Here he comes again,
And
1-2.
compared to a fastball, clearly they move a lot more. They wind up acting in a way that is very different compared to how a fastball would deliver, which generally stays up in the air a lot longer than it should because it's got a lot of backspin on it. It causes it to rise in the air relative to where a perfectly spinless ball would be thrown, which in itself is a knuckleball, which behaves very differently. But that's
Line
like
towards center
a
field.
totally different topic at the moment.
Peterson is right there, 1 down.
In any case,
Okay, here's how the Snakes are lining up defensively. And guys, this starting pitcher right here is in the top 5 in the league in strikeouts. And what does that tell me?
on an
That tells me
unrelated
that
note,
his
we got
defense
most of the
cannot
usual
fall asleep.
suspects, including our new
They better
catcher,
go through
Cam
their
Gallagher.
pre-pitch routine.
We got Morris
They better
Lamb,
stay on
Jaime
their toes
Gutierrez,
and
Jack
stay engaged
Reinheimer,
in
Mark
this one.
Madsen,
And
Reese Hoskins, Jock Peterson, Bryce Harper, and on the bump, Mr. Jason Parham.
He went hitless last night in a game where his guys could push across only one score.
So when you throw a fastball, you know, fastballs tend to stay up in the air relative to where a conventionally thrown ball would be if you just kind of threw it any which way.
And the pitch.
Whereas a breaking ball,
Fly ball out toward
the
left
advantage
center
of
field.
those is that
Peterson has
they
a read
will
on it.
move
Makes the play,
usually
and there are two
downward, but
gone
also
now.
potentially laterally in the air relative to where a perfectly thrown fastball would go.
Set to get his
Fastballs
evening at
like
the
to go
plate
straight.
start. Andy
Breaking
Dunlap,
balls like to
who has
move.
been a
So
real struggle for
if
him
a
in the
hitter is
fastball
expecting a
this year,
fastball and it dives at the plate with it like a curveball, or it slides off the plate like a slider,
Let's go now, one time.
First delivery to
then
him on the
they
way.
typically will miss where they're hitting because they're expecting the ball to be in one spot. They're swinging on the basis of it being at a certain place in a certain time. And the breaking ball usually moves both slower and arrives at a different spot than the hitter is expecting. So it winds up confusing them and causing either a swing and a miss, or sometimes they'll just, you know, they'll get locked up at the plate and not be able to swing because it's not coming where they expect it to be.
The windup and the 0-2 pitch. Hit to
And kind of the last sort of ball that is thrown generally is a changeup, which is a off-speed pitch. You know, both breaking balls and changeups are considered off-speed pitches, but for the sake of argument, a changeup has more to do with a change of speed than it has to do with
take his first cuts here.
has more to do with a change of speed than it has to do with a change of direction in midair.
Big guy, your pitch, huh?
So,
Nobody.
you know, you throw a fastball and it gets to the
First
plate
pitch of the
relatively
at-bat.
quickly.
Not close.
Whereas a
with that
changeup,
throw.
you have a different grip on the ball. You deliver it with less force on the ball, but you throw it with the same arm speed and arm action as you would a fastball. So the hitter is expecting
Come on, big guy.
The 1-0.
a fastball based on the way your arm and hand move,
Strike one.
but because it comes in a lot slower, it'll drop more relative to where a fastball would go, and so once again, you're expecting
1-1 home.
a
Misses for
ball
the
that
second
will
ball.
be up and fast, and it comes in low and slow, and you typically will either get a frozen batter or a swing and a miss.
Now the 2-1.
In theory, anyway. I'm playing on legend difficulty here in this game, which means that all the hitters have very superior plate discipline and hitting capabilities, which means that they don't miss nearly as much as they would on low difficulties. In any case, though, you wind up with you have a selection of pitches that do various things, and velocity controls how fast or slow they get up to the plate, and each of the velocity ratings that you have will increase the pitch speeds of your other pitches as well. So a good fastball with poor velocity ratings on your other pitches will be delivered less quickly than the same rating for your fastball with higher speed ratings for your other pitches.
That's the second out of the inning.
That's one time through the order.
So striding in.
And that'll bring up Damon Ulysses back
He
up.
got on top of one and was a ground out victim last time.
Ulysses.
First pitch coming. Here it is. Now a swing, and he just
Change
fouls
up down,
this one
gets a
away.
swing and a
Ulysses is really a well-balanced hitter.
foul
It
ball.
doesn't seem to matter whether he's facing a right-hander
So,
or a lefty. He makes a lot of
that's
live contact
how that
either
behaves.
way, which is quite
Now I'm going to
rare in
explain
today's
how I
game.
choose what pitches to throw. In this case, I threw a changeup first pitch, which Damon Ulysses was expecting something a little bit faster, so he swung early on it.
Hey, 2 outs, huh?
That tells me, okay, he's geared up for something that is faster than a changeup. So if I throw him something slower than a changeup, he will have a harder time hitting it. So in this case, a 12-6 curveball is the slower pitch that I have.
Hey, like you can up there, huh? No one better.
So that's what I'm going to throw him next. And generally, I try to throw these pitches down in the zone, if only because it's a lot easier for a hitter to time a breaking ball up in the zone, and when they do, it generally goes very far. So he didn't swing on that one. So now I'm going to try to throw him one down and away. That was a cutter. Did not catch the zone, so that's a ball, but ideally it would have caught the corner and he would have either swung and missed on it based on it behaving not the way he expected, or he would have just watched it come in. And again, 12-6 curveball. The way that behaves, it comes out of the hand and drops, so I try to target it below the zone. And so he sees it coming in, and ideally he'll expect it to be in the zone when he swings, but in this case, he was able to foul it off. A two-seam fastball has arm side break, so it, oof, it's got him in the armpit. In this case, the two-seam fastball has arm side break, so it'll travel to Jason's right and the batter's left. Swing and a miss on the slider, which again has diving right to left action relative to Jason. So dives away from the right-handed batter down in the corner. He can't catch it, and that is a nice strikeout for him.
The Diamondbacks are set to hit here in the third inning, and this offense has certainly not disappointed this year. Within the league, they rank among the leaders in batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging. When asked about their offense, the players I talked with all brought up how multifaceted their talent is, saying they've got guys that can spray the ball around, guys that work counts and draw walks, and of course plenty of guys that can go deep in driving runs. Their numbers certainly confirm that, guys.
Okay, thank you, honey.
And we'll take a quick break from the pitching talk to get on the plate. So Jason, as a pitcher, not a very good hitter. You know, he spends a lot of his time working on the aspect of the game for which he's paid millions of dollars, which is to say how to throw a baseball 96 miles an hour with good control. As a result, he, like most pitchers, do not have very good batting skills. Just like me as a player, I don't have very good batting skills in the game MLB The Show 19. And that's a good example there. I would have expected that to dive further out of the zone, but because it was a fastball, it stayed up and remained in the zone. That one, I didn't see where that one came in exactly, but it was on the inside. And as a result, I wound up getting jammed on it, and it just rolled for harmless ground. Okay, so let's talk about this game. So the first pitch call from Cam Gallagher is a curveball inside the zone on the outside part of the plate to a left-handed batter.
Hey, jump ahead.
First offering on its way.
Typically, the batter would expect you to throw a fastball first pitch, so throwing a breaking ball, a curveball, that first pitch, is a good way to either get one past him without a swing, you know, get away with a pitch you otherwise might not, or get a swing that was not well timed. In this case, he was late on that pitch. So the next call from Gallagher is a fastball down in the zone, which I'm going to go ahead and give him.
Get your pitch.
Ripped down the line.
And that wound up being down in the zone into the corner, which was a good pitch.
He'll get it
But at
into
the same
second,
time,
but it won't be in
Verdugo was
time, and
ready
it's a
for it,
leadoff
and
double.
he knocked it
As we
down
take another
left
look
field
here, you
line
can see
into the
it's a
corner
two-seam
for a nice little
fastball
double, and that
running
will
away
be
from him at the plate.
man on
So he does the
second
smart thing, not
with
trying to pull
nobody
it, or
away.
just rolling over it, just goes with it and has enough juice on it to drive it for a double.
Yeah, that ball went exactly where I wanted it to, and it just happened to go for a double. Sometimes you can't control that. Excuse me.
One time, right here.
In any case, sometimes the hitter just outthinks you or is able to react to how you are throwing.
1 for 1 after a single. His
First pitch,
time up.
first pitch fastball in the middle of the zone is kind of a risky one to throw just because that's a good spot for the hitter to get to. Verdugo or Kyle Schwarber up here
I see it. Let's drive it.
Ready with the 0-1. Saws him off here as this ball
was not able to get to that one. He was
over to his left,
Got
and he
catch up.
hauls it in for the first down of the inning.
not able to get to that one, and the next pitch I threw was a cutter up and in.
And he always poses
Which broke
a
his
threat,
bat.
Of course, one of the true superstars in the game today.
And that'll bring up Matt Davidson, the 4-hole hitter for the Dodgers, who will be Jason's boss battle right now. We are going to strike him out inside the zone if I can help it. So first pitch from Gallagher is a changeup outside.
Hey, let her rip. Here we go.
First delivery.
Now
to
Jason's
him on the
arsenal,
way.
as I said, oh gosh, that was a great pitch, and the ump did not see it that way.
Let's fly. Let's go right here. Hey, be patient. Get your pitch, huh?
Jason's arsenal has a few
Taken for ball
different
2.
pitches that do
Do you
different
take your
things.
chances in this situation?
In
as a
general,
hitter,
He's got
knowing
two
just
pitches
missed
that go
outside, two
arm
pitches
side
in
for
a
him,
row,
which is
and dive a
left
little
to
bit, try
right.
drive something in the opposite field.
3
Oh,
and
wow.
0 now.
I'm pretty
Okay.
surprised by the location on those last 3
Hey, let her
pitches.
fly,
The
kid,
book
let
on
her
him is
fly.
that he hits the way pitch pretty well, and he just saw 3 in a row out there.
So does he go back out there again?
No, Matt, I expected him to
Okay,
mix it up.
4-pitch
Most
walk.
catchers won't call
Not what
for
I
the same
wanted, but
location over and
it is
over
what it
and over.
is. Okay, and that'll bring up Big Boyce Fuller. So, in any case, he's got 2 pitches that go arm side, left to right. He's got a 2-seam fastball, which is fast, obviously.
First pitch
And
coming,
he's
here
got
it is.
a
And a high strike there.
circle
0-1.
changeup, which is slower. And the circle changeup breaks kind of down and to the right relative to Jason. So
Hey, come on now, big dog. Get
it's
your pitch.
ideal to use on left-handed batters because it breaks away from them and it can still fool a...
And
Oh,
he pulls the string on the circle change.
I
but
got
it's
some
taken
problems
for
with this
ball
ump
1.
right now. I'm just
I
saying.
wonder if that call not going his way right there has anything to do with walking the last guy. We all know umpires don't give you much on the corners if you're not throwing strikes consistently.
Now the 2-1 pitch. In the air now, out to right field. Harper
Fuller
on the
skies
run.
it out to right field, and
He
Harper's
gets
there.
there,
They're not going
makes
to
the
challenge
play
him
for the
out there,
second
and
out
that'll
of
be
the
the second out. That'll bring up Starlin Castro.
Stepping in, Starlin Castro. 2 men on, 2 away here in the 4th.
And strike him out. Jason also has 2 glove side breaking pitches that go from right to left.
Ready with the first pitch. Here it comes.
Oh, Jay,
And
come
this
on.
one runs up high. Ball 1.
He's got a cutter, which is a form of fastball. Then he's got a slider, which is a breaking
And this is just off
pitch.
the outside corner. Ball 2.
Well, I know the last thing he wants to do is load the bases right here, so the pressure is on right now to get back in the strike zone.
Come on, Jay. Let's
Late
get this
swing on
guy.
the hitter's count. Still a good count for him now, however, at 2-1. Count is even at
Got
2-2
one
to
just
Starlin
over the
Castro.
inside corner.
Hey, I
A
don't
little
blame
bit
him
scary,
right there,
honestly.
giving up on that inside curveball, little front
Hey,
hipper.
come on now.
That's a tough pitch. You just can't figure out where the point of contact should be.
Never
Two
tempted
seam
to swing at that
inside,
ball down
yuck.
low. It's ball
Okay.
3.
How do we want to do this? And the other pitch Jason has, the 12-6, is just a straight up and down breaking pitch. It's good against both left-handers and right-handers because it has the same break for either relative to either handedness. So how do we want to do this?
Hey, come on now. One time. Right here.
Two-seamer down and away is the call. Definitely don't want to walk it, so I'm going to use some of the showtime here. Get it inside the zone enough that the ump's not going to call it a ball, I hope. And we got the strikeout. Not ideal, not an ideal inning, but we kept them scoreless.
On to the bottom of the fourth now, still with no score. Now at the plate, Andy Dunlap, as the switch hitter will take his cuts left-handed here.
This is somewhat of a cause for concern. This guy needs to hit better left-handed against right-handed pitching.
Now, a lot of times when it comes to pitch selection, I will defer to the judgment of the catcher, which, you know, for a game like MLB The Show is not perhaps ideal, simply because the catcher is an AI construct and the way they call pitches is, you know, algorithmically based. It's got nothing to do with the game situation necessarily. It's just kind of the way they're programmed.
On its way. Breaking ball that drops
And
in
we get a
for
curveball called on that. We get a strike called on that
mentioned
pitch.
that we might be seeing a pitcher's duel today, and these two guys have certainly delivered on that promise.
In any case, and that'll mean sometimes they call pitches that I don't agree with. But sometimes they do things which I am kind of pleased with, like, say, this cutter on the inside. The cutter is a pitch that breaks from right to left. So if I start this here, or if I pitch to the inside corner, it's going to break in from off the plate, ideally, and end up in the strike zone. So the pitcher might give up on it because he expects it to be a ball, but it winds up being a strike.
A ball and 2 strikes now. Come on. The 1-2. Hit the other way.
Sometimes they don't turn out quite the way you'd like them to. Like, say, that curveball there out on the corner, that wound up being a little more up and in on the zone, pretty much center cut even. We got a little bit lucky because that one just was a fly out to right field. On another day, that might have gone for double.
This is popped up. Madsen over to his right, and that retires the side.
But in any case, 5 innings, no score so far. And Jason lives to pitch another inning.
Now back to the top of the Dodgers order, digging in, Damon Ulysses. He'll look to bounce back after striking out his last time up.
Yeah, Matty, big time K last time up, and it's been a tough series for him so far.
Like I said at the start of the game, pitching really is kind of a battle between the pitcher and the hitter. You got to outthink them, and you got to out-execute them.
Hey, come on, big guy, get your pitch.
Here's the first pitch to him.
You know, even if the idea is to pitch down in the zone with a curveball, it puts you at a lot more risk if you can't get that pitch down in the zone. If it winds up hanging, then that's a good pitch for them to execute. Likewise, if you throw a slider 2 feet off the plate and they still swing at it, that's a problem of execution on their part as well as yours. You know, sometimes you throw a pitch center cut and they fly out to center field. You know, sometimes you put one right on the black and they knock it for a home. Sometimes you just can't control that. The best you can do is try to limit the damage that is caused by executing as well as possible.
Lifted down the line in left.
So, say in a 1-2 count. I threw a fastball last 97. He made weak contact on it, and he was early on. So the next thing I would want to do is throw a slower ball than that. And the call is for 12-6 on the outside corner. I think I'm going to throw a slider out there instead. Like I said, right-handed batters, the slider dips away from them, and it's a lot harder to pick up that motion for a same-handed batter as it is from a same-handed pitcher.
If he would have caught the corner right there, I think he's got a
A left-handed hitter would see that ball diving in on them, whereas the motion is a lot more deceptive for a right-handed batter. They can't see it as well.
That was borderline up, even though it was in the zone.
All right, well, swing and a miss on the changeup. That'll be the second strikeout for Ulysses on the day.
Wow, that's awfully impressive.
Jason not really getting the strikeouts today, and I think that might be as much because I'm just yammering on up here.
Back with a better pitch and gets the punch out.
But in any case, we're still hanging in here. So again, next call. 12-6 curveball in the zone to the outside. Off the end of the bat, that's going to wind up in left center field. But Jock Peterson's going to get out there and get that for the second out. And I didn't see where that ended up in the zone. It was right on the black, so the timing on it was good, but the contact on it was only okay. If the sweet spot had been more centered on the ball, that very well might have left the ballpark. And then another thing you want to keep in mind is what you've thrown the pitcher or what you've thrown that batter already.
Infield shifted well to the right. Here's the first pitch.
Two-seamer down for the first strike, no swing. It's always tough when they don't swing on pitches because then you have to judge whether or not they're making the right adjustments up there. So curveball down, next pitch. That one hung up a little more than I wanted it to, but that's still strike two, no swing.
Part of the field out of play and just work the ball up the middle the other way. It's extremely difficult when a guy's throwing this hard to stay back on a breaking ball.
Curve or change up low and away. That's off the end of the bat, and that one will be well out of here. Kyle Schwarber gets one off the batter's eye. And that will be a 1-0 lead for the Dodgers.
And the Dodgers strike first, 1-0.
And I didn't see where that one wound up, honestly. That one very well could have been hung. Yep, a little bit. Like I said, that one, Schwarber was more or less waiting on that one, apparently, or he was able to get to that one at least. So if I'd thrown a fastball on that count, he might have been a little early.
The first pitch misses to him. It's ball one. He's 0 for 1 thus far.
But, you know, that's really all. You know, sometimes you can't control that.
And that's right.
And as I keep saying, when you give up a home run like that, you just got to pull your pants back up and try it again.
Line toward right center.
That's a liner to right field, and now Matt Davidson has himself a base hit.
Hey, just a nice piece of hitting right there. He's able to keep his hands inside that.
So here in the sixth, Jason is having a little bit of trouble with two away.
Standing in now, Boyce.
Big Boyce watches that changeup first pitch. That was well executed there.
Hey, need you right here. One time. Let's go.
1-1 to the Dodgers' first baseman. Davidson, the runner at first with 2 gone.
Come on, big guy. See it, drive it. See it, drive it.
Swing and a miss.
I think it's safe to say he wasn't
swung through that one. He was very late on that. So when you're late on a fastball, really all you can do is throw him another fastball.
And they could go either way now, I suppose.
The 1-2. Good job going down and hanging with it that time.
On the other hand, that one was an early pitch, so I'm guessing Jason's going to be done here shortly. So we'll throw him a slider.
And another foul
but he got to that one, too. Okay. Well, in a case like this is where I like to get cheeky. I don't really care. likely to be out of here soon, so we'll throw him the ant special. The high inside curveball.
Fouled away.
Okay, well, he got to that one, too.
Back-to-back breaking balls. He just missed that one right there, fouling it away. Do not expect a third.
Hard ground ball to third.
On the other hand, that one was a slider down in the zone that did get grounded into a ground out. That will end the inning, but you got to figure Jason's about to get pulled for a pinch hitter here in the 6th.
And the Diamondbacks nothing.
No, they are going to let him stay out here. Okay, well, I may have been a little aggressive with the showtime in that last batter, but whatever. You know?
It's all the 0-0 pitch. Hit in the air out to right. Dunlap moves to his right,
not bad contact from Jason, but just kind of hung up there a little too long.
Ready once again, Starlin Castro.
On the other hand, Arizona does pull it back, so Starlin Castro comes in.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, Matt. That's what you get when both starting pitchers.
And it's time to see if we can't close this one out. Now, there's a bit of trivia which you may be interested in. Jason is at 992 Major League innings pitched right now. If we can get through the 8th inning, then we will have pitched 1,000 Major League innings with Jason Parham.
But this is just going to wind up being a foul ball.
And if we don't get it today, we certainly will get it next time. Swing and a miss. Curveball outside gets him swinging.
So yet another strong outing.
That'll be another strikeout for
Starlin
Castro, and that'll be the first out of the inning.
Stepping up to the plate, Andy Dunlap. He comes in 0 for 2 thus far.
And pretty much all the rules that I have already talked about, all the things that I say, all the, axioms and whatever, those are pretty much just guidelines. Increasingly, there's a whole lot more push for pitchers to throw the pitches which are most effective for them. I mean, I'm trying to think of the pitcher's name, but he threw effectively, it was like 20 curveballs in a row.
Reinheimer takes charge out there, and he stays with it for the second out.
The only reason that you can't do something, Lance McCullers threw 24 straight curveballs in the American League Championship Series of 2017. The only reason you wouldn't do something like that, or that you can't do something like that, is that no one expects you to do something like that.
First offering on its way.
So if you got a good curveball, if you got it working on the day, and you get people striking out on it, or grounding into stuff, there's no reason you can't use it. With the caveat that the way that MLB The Show has been coded this year, apparently your secondary pitches get less effective the more you throw them in an at-bat. So you can't necessarily get away with that. Morrisland gets that one, and that'll be the third out of the inning. So that'll be 999 for Jason. We'll see if they let him go to 100. No, in fact, they're going to relieve him in the 8th, bring on Seth Lugo, and hope that we can hold on to a 1-run lead at the very minimum. Jason did all right today and only allowed the 1 home run, but we'll find out whether or not the Diamondback can hang on. Survey says, in spite of teaching a lesson in the middle of it wasn't the worst game that Jason has thrown. Jason pitched for 7 innings, allowing 1 run on 4 hits and a walk, which was that Kyle Schwarber donged to center field. Collected only 5 strikeouts, but got himself the win. He goes to 9-0 on the year, and he goes to 68-39 in his career. His ERA has gone to 1.66, his FIP is at 2.21, and his xFIP is at 2.76. So that's going to do it for me. Until next time, I'm TYRANT, and I will see you at the ballpark.